full operation during the genocide, if you recall. I mean, it was.
So if someone steals, so I understand. So if someone
could be any number of reasons, or it could be.
Okay, well, let's imagine. Let's go with your thing.
Hold on. It could be. They spoke out against Hamas. I don't know.
All right. So okay. Let's use your example. So you gave two examples. One, someone that stole food or aid, and the other one that spoke to Hamas. You think that any of the reasons that you gave legitimizes handcuffing people and then shooting them in the leg? Any of the reasons that you just now gave?
Wait. So
or the guy that posted on Facebook, or the guy that posted. No, we're not talking about the idea. We're not talking about the idea. Because that is your problem. You cannot handle the truth. Every time you need to deflect. The truth is, listen, I'm not talking about, try to focus with me, Edward, and try to be honest, okay? We're talking about internal. We're talking about Hamas and the population. I'm not fragile at all. No, you guys are. You cannot handle the truth. You cannot handle reality. And you are defending the people that are brutally. Oh my God. Okay, I think I made my point.
On its people and on their own hostages.
Zim, mute up for a second. Zim, mute up. Edward, if you think that anything legitimizes a government to handcuff people and shoot them in the leg, then you have a problem. And if you, every time that I talk to you about the way that Hamas oppresses their own population, your answer is the IDF, these 46,000, you are basically helping Hamas by gaslighting the suffering of your own people.
No, Daniel.
Yes, you do.
Israel helped
Yes, you do.
Israel.
No, again, try to talk to me. Can you try? Hold on, guys, can you guys try to stop with talking about Israel? I'm not talking about Israel. I'm talking about Hamas.
Israel is not a freaking thing to talk about in the first place.
Wow, you cannot handle it, huh? You just can't handle it. I'm talking about Hamas oppressing, abusing, shooting their own people, and all you can do is talk about Israel because you want to kind of frame them as resistant fighters, but you cannot handle the fact that they are oppressing their own people. You cannot handle the fact that when the guy wrote free the sausages, they executed them. You cannot handle this. You just cannot.
Let me answer you.
It's very sad, I gotta say.
Let me answer you. You're gonna answer your own question? Let me answer you.
No, try to answer me without saying Israel or IDF.
No. Let me answer the way I want to answer, which is the best.
So no, because it has nothing to do with Israel. Hamas executing their own people. Can you talk about Hamas executing their own people, or can't you not? If not, then let's move on. Let's say you cannot handle this, and we can move on. But if you're gonna talk about Israel again, I'm not gonna engage with you because you're not honest.
Yeah, Daniel, if you ask a question, then you have to stay muted until the person responds. So let me respond. Here's my response. When Hamas, first off, Hamas does not want to rule over Gaza or Palestinians. They are calling for free elections. They want elections. The Hamas in war, if they have to take very stringent actions against people, this is what they have to do for the betterment of their entire population.
So if someone says free the hostages, they should execute it.
I don't believe that somebody says free the hostages, and let me tell you something. Why would
you don't want to believe? You don't want to believe because you are Edward. Listen, you are burying your head in the sand. You are refusing reality, and you're obsessed with Israel, and you're obsessed with defending Israel. You cannot handle the fact that Hamas is brutally abusing the Palestinians. And I think I'm done.
Daniel, let him talk a little.
Why that Hamas doesn't have
anyone else?
Since the last election, why there were no free elections? Because Palestine?
What last thing?
Let me guess, because of Israel. Let me guess, right?
Yeah,
Because of
Under
Israel.
occupation territory.
Is it something
It's
about
under occupation,
Hamas? Is it something about Hamas having elections in Gaza?
Not in Gaza. No. Hamas wants election for all the Palestinians, not just in Gaza. If you look at the agreement right now, the ceasefire agreement, around half the people that are going to be released are Palestinians. Yeah, I think even more than half, meaning West Bank Palestinians, not Gazans. Hamas wants Palestine to be free, not just Gaza to be free. So they want elections. They don't want the PA in charge, and they've even said, Hamas, to the mediators, that they are willing to step down from power. That they have no problem doing this. This is not something that they want to do. They don't want to
They want
run.
to be free from who, Edward?
Huh? Say that again?
Okay,
So you said they want to be free. They want all of them to be free, and I
That's
was
all
wondering from who.
Okay,
Wait. You were in the room the other day talking about genociding the Palestinian people, but yet you
No,
want
I
to
never
come in
said
here and talk
that.
about freedom.
Yes, he was.
That's what you say. You said it
Okay,
like
Edward,
No, I said that I think that we should genocide the terrorists.
Oh, genocide anything or anybody
You
is
said
disgusting.
No, I think that
You're
You are a
Actually,
genocide.
I was more specifically.
How about if I say I want to Holocaust.
specifically,
I want to
I
Holocaust.
said ethnic. No, I said ethnically cleanse the
No, you said
terrorists.
genocide. I listened very intently. You said the word genocide.
Edward.
Well, I mean, if it's the same kind of
Genocide.
genocide, you mean the same kind of genocide that's happened in Gaza, where the population year over year
I'm not sure what you meant. Genocide is
that type of genocide. I mean, it depends how we
Jeremy,
actually
genocide,
define
everybody.
genocide.
You wanted to
It
genocide.
depends how we actually define the
Jeremy.
genocide.
No,
Let him moderate.
it's already been defined. Go ahead.
Moderating of room.
Okay, Edward, so you're talking about elections, like, I believe it's an interest of Hamas to have elections in the West Bank because they don't have the last time they had free elections, I don't remember, I think it was even before or short after they had elections in Gaza, I don't remember the details, like the exact date. So yeah, I guess they do want elections in the West Bank because many West Bank people of a certain age actually support Hamas. I mean,
No, I don't think Hamas wants to be a part of the election, the process. They just want Palestinians to elect a leader that is not them. They don't want to lead.
How noble of Hamas. They're so noble. What a virtue. What an ethical virtue.
why they don't apply this theory in Gaza? Why since
Hold on. So,
2007, why they don't apply this theory in Gaza? If they care about the Palestinian...
so they did, in a way. Hamas is actually a loosely formed government. It is representing around 15 or even more factions in Gaza.
Wow, they really carried out the will of the voters.
If you say something about Hamas... Are you allowed to say something about Hamas in Gaza without facing?
Let me finish answering your question. So Hamas was appointed by the Shura Council, which is made up of these 15 or more groups. I don't know how many exactly they are, but they're the ones that elected or appointed Hamas to. Okay, no, that's resistance, but there's more than just the resistance. But the council appointed Hamas as the group that will supervise or manage the government itself, and but that is not elections, and that is not a position that Hamas wants to be in. That's not what they were formed, to do. That's not their mandate. They are the resistance group to free Palestinians. That's their period.
Okay, but what about Palestinians? What about Palestinians who choose non-violent form of resistance? Do they get a voice?
We tried that. Even in Gaza,
you tried. Others think otherwise. Do they get?
Wow, you guys really tried hard on October 7th to do the non-resistance movement. Great job.
Do not do this. Adrian, respect the man.
Okay, what about Palestinians who believe in non-violent resistance? Do they get a voice in Gaza?
They do. It's called the PA.
No, the PA is not
Sorry, go
Gaza.
ahead. Go ahead. I was moving him down. Go ahead.
Okay, what about saying coexistence in Gaza? Do they say that coexistence in Gaza?
Well,
No,
didn't
yes,
they change their charter in 2017? Did they not
Okay,
change
what?
their charter?
Okay, that is a different topic. I'm talking about Palestinians who believe in coexistence, believe in making conciliations, to take it a voice in Gaza.
Hamas, yes, Hamas is. I mean, I'm assuming the people do. I don't know exactly about the Gazan people. I know Hamas wants a state recognized around the 1967 borders.
Why did they attack us in 1967 if the 67
They did not attack.
borders were there?
Hamas did not attack.
They didn't even.
No,
Nobody
the
attacked.
Palestinians. Because
Everybody was
Palestinians
prepared
did not
to
attack.
shoot.
yeah, they did.
No, they did not attack.
You did a preemptive,
Black or
dude.
white? Do Palestinians get a voice in Gaza who believe in making concessions to Israel? Who believe?
I don't think Hamas wants to be in that position. They want to elect. They want the Palestinian people, and they've said this in the 2010s when they've been asked on on TV here in America, and they've always been consistent in saying it's not up to us, it's up to the Palestinian people what they want.
Okay, but it's a specific question. Let's say there is a very tiny minority in Gaza who probably want to speak their mind, say something that is dissent to Hamas, say something about PLO, say something about Israel, about, I don't know, nonviolent resistance, democratic values and this. So do they get a voice in Gaza? That's what I'm asking. It's a black or white question.
Yeah, I mean,
Can they voice their opinion without facing violent consequences?
I'll answer you,
Can they do this?
Yes. So even the smallest groups of like 1,500 or so are on the Shura Council, and they are represented. So
How come we never see that on
I'm not
TV?
talking about members of Hamas. I'm talking about Gaza.
I'm not talking about members of Hamas. I'm talking about the small minorities. Yes, there are minorities. They are represented. They actually appointed and had a vote to appoint Hamas as the governing party in Gaza because they were the most organized.
Okay, I'm not talking about the majority. I'm not talking about the general. I'm talking about.
I said minority. I said the word
I'm
minority.
talking about some Gazans who probably say some things that Hamas is not going to like. Probably many Gazans are not going to like. Do they have a right to speak their mind without facing violence? Even if they say something that hurts the feelings of many people in Gaza.
It depends what they say. If
Israel allow people to speak their
hold on,
mind
see,
in
he was asking me if
Yes,
they're
you know how many people in Israel
if you're
actually say
saying-
such
hold on,
inflammatory shit and they don't take anything for it?
Kia, if somebody is saying something about they want Israel to rule or they want something really far out there, I think the Gazan people themselves would probably dispatch that person very quickly, very efficiently.
Even if they mention the word coexistence.
No, that's not
To
true.
be fair,
That's not true. No, you're not being fair about it.
that.
No,
Why don't we hear more? Why don't we hear?
You don't even
I
know
don't-
that the
I'm just
Palestinians
saying,
did not
with
attack.
TikTok, Edward, and the internet, why aren't we seeing any Gazans saying we want?
I don't know. They're in the middle of a genocide. You should learn. You should know about
Before the war. Talking about the decade of government of Hamas in Gaza. So what was like for the Palestinians? Do people who were actually of a minority opinion, but they still existed, do you believe they had the right to voice their mind? Do you believe Hamas actually gave them the right to speak their mind without facing consequences? Because I'm gonna tell you
Bro, it's
something.
the third time.
Do you know how many people in Israel say inflammatory shit about we have our own anti-Zionist camp in Israel actually, and it's not like they're getting legally persecuted.
Edward is an ideologue. He's incapable of moving positions.
Please do not do this. Adrian, please do not do this.
Edward
I'm not an ideologue because I don't know exactly what's happening in Gaza when it comes to the people. I said this already. I don't know. I could speak about the West Bank, but when it comes to the Gazan people, the Palestinians in Gaza, they're because they have been under siege, so communications with them is very difficult. I can speak about the
Well, I'm sure all the peaceniks amongst them can convince them.
There's a lot of people in Gaza, and everybody in Gaza, especially now after what happened, want peace, and they feel, and I believe Hamas feels, because Hamas did accept a board, a community, whatever it's called.
How the hell can you say you know how a fighter in Gaza feels?
But you do not actually like speak with most Palestinians from the Palestinian territories.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. You can't tell me I don't speak, because I speak. I have a lot of family in the West Bank. I have family in Gaza. I have family in Israel. My family in the West Bank, I speak to all the time. I've been there multiple times, and I can tell you that exactly how they feel. They feel they want a two-state, either a one or two-state solution. When they say one, they don't mean the destruction of Israel. This is new. The river to the sea, meaning the destruction of Israel. I don't know if that came out of the West Bank, that came out of Gaza, that came out of the West, but it used to mean
My balls.
one person. And the reason...
Okay, so I'm a two-state solutionist as well, at least in theory, on paper. But
I'm a two-state solutionist as well. That's what I want.
Okay, so we have an agreement here, finally. But I think it's important to understand why there wasn't a two-state solution until now, because, like, when you see what's happening in the opinions...
we don't have to go through all that history. I know why.
No, not the history, not this. You see, there was some speaker here previously. I think she was Palestinian. Her name was, I don't remember. She said something about wanting the whole thing. So when you talk about Hamas representing the Palestinian people, when they talk about ceasefire,
she's in Denmark.
Yes, when they talk about negotiations, actually it's not a secret. They explicitly state about a hudna, which means they are ready to accept a Palestinian state in the 1967 borders. But it's not about
hudna means
yes, but it means a Palestinian state. It means a Palestinian state that is not going to be a partner for peace with Israel. So how Israelis are going to make this...
No, I think you're mistranslating it a little bit here. So what a lot of Palestinians do believe is they believe living peacefully with Israel. But they are not going to say that Israel is there legitimately.
Look,
do they have to say that?
They don't want to live with us peacefully.
Look, most Palestinians in West Bank and Gaza believe they only want a Palestinian state in those territories, and they're about to recognize the state of Israel. They're about to sign, I don't know, non-aggression with Israel. They can have a state tomorrow. Yeah, I'm okay. That's why I'm a two-state solutionist. But the problem is that from my experience with Palestinians, this is not the impression I get.
Because
not only is it the impression I get, but the Palestinians were surveyed back in September of last year, and somebody I know on here, a Zionist, actually took the survey results and emailed those that took the survey and studied it just to make sure it was legitimate, and he came back and said it was. 80% of Palestinians in the West Bank want a two-state solution. And the other 20%,
they want a two-state solution. Doesn't mean it's a partner for peace with Israel. Doesn't mean it doesn't become a... Doesn't mean...
Can we be clear about what they're asking speaking for Palestinians, right?
Excuse me.
Okay, they want a two-state solution. What does it say about their opinion about Israel? I mean Israel proper.
Well, they want two states. They want two Palestinian states. Not only do they want
Jeremy,
the
that's
67,
not
but then they also want the right of return of all of the 5 million, because they count refugees differently.
No, Norm, this is a good point. Okay, so the right of return is actually something that Israel has already agreed on back in Oslo. The right of return to allow some Palestinians to go back to Israel is literally... No, hold on.
They've agreed to that. Yeah.
They did, but it's literally a formula they use. Israel will say, based on the demographics, we can let 72,486 people return. Like it'll be that exacting, and so that's not even a debate, and that's not what's holding up the peace process. What's holding it up right now is that we
bunch
don't
of
have
terrorists that
representation.
did October 7th,
No,
which
no, no,
derailed,
no, no,
which
they
derailed the
actually-
two-state
no.
solution and
No,
killed
they
it, is
actually
what
put us
happened.
back on the map. We need to come back to reality. Unfortunately, I mean, this is what it took. It's a heavy price that Palestinians have to pay, but it is what it is. It gave Palestinians legitimacy. It did. It gave us credibility. This is why Steve Witkoff is going to Gaza. This is why we have a ceasefire in place. Now, what do we do with that? Do we sit on it and just let it rot, or do we use that momentum and build something and take it further than it's ever been taken before? That's what I.
You better talk to your Hamas people.
No,
because
good.
listen, they explicitly, Edward, they explicitly still. But listen, they explicitly still.
I know your position. I don't know why you talk, because you're not.
I'm talking about
genuine.
their position. I'm
You're
talking about what
not
Hamas
genuine.
says on
I
TV.
know your position.
What about Hamas's position, Edward?
It's
What's
not
Hamas's
genocide.
position?
Jeremy, I don't want this to be contentious.
But Norma, then why don't you tell us what is the Hamas position? Like post
Hamas will tell you their
ceasefire deal?
position. Hamas will tell you their position.
Yeah,
Okay.
they have. It's been on memory. It's literally
Hamas-
recorded on video.
Hamas wants to wipe out the state of Israel. And if it takes a interim step, I'm just going to...
Okay, go ahead. I'll respond to you. Go ahead.
Okay. And if it takes an interim step of the 1967 borders, which is the position that Hamas took, which is not on the table, by the way, then they'll do that as a step towards wiping out the state of Israel. That's Hamas's stated position. Now,
So
right now, I didn't
Okay.
quite finish. So what I'm saying is that right now, Israel is not going to be in a position of any sort of a reward or seeming reward for what happened on October 7th that leads to any kind of a state. The choice is actually between continuing the war until Hamas is completely obliterated, which is largely done, or some sort of enduring peace. Those are the only two things that are on the table. There's no state on the table right now. And we're not going to turn the time machine back and go back to 1967. The current position, this is my last statement, is autonomy congruent with Israeli security. That's what's on the offer right now. And I'm quoting now the former ambassador from Israel to the United States, Michael Orr, and you can go see his position. He's a little bit. All right, I'll end it there. So
Okay.
Let me just end it there. You go.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. I understand what you're saying. I understand what Israel's position is. However, it's not just Israel's position that is taken into account or that will dictate the policy for this region. It's going to be outside parties like the UN, like the United States, like Russia, like China, and like Saudi Arabia. They have a stake in this, and they are also they have a lot of influence when it comes to what the position is or will be. The first step.
So you're thinking that Israel won't have a sway in that? Are you saying that?
I think Israel will inevitably will have to accept the fact that there'll be a two-state solution, 2 states. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean that a Palestinian state or a terror state would be built or should be built or should even have the chance to be built. What I'm saying is, the talk is that there will be an agreement between Israel and the Palestinians, not for a state, but rather for very exacting objectives that Palestinians must meet, meaning they must build a state and build it in a very specific way, meeting certain objectives along the way, objectives that Israel and the Palestinians agree on. And once those objectives are met, then a state can be declared. So this takes care of Israel's security. and the need for Palestinians to have self-determination.
Well, it's got to start. It's got to start with the Palestinians not wanting to kill us.
Well, yeah, it would start. Of course, that would be one of the objectives.
A key condition. I want to give you a name, Edward. Salam Fayyad. Okay.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Thomas Friedman today in the New York Times said this guy Salam Fayyad would be a pretty viable leader for at least for let's call it the emergent Palestinian
interim government is what they're calling it now.
Yeah.
I would say for an interim government, yes, because you're building an economy. He would not be a good leader for a nation, because he's an economist. He's worked with for the World Bank, I believe, for years. He's very, very well known as one of the premier economists in the world. He's very good. Okay. He can, and that would be one of the objectives, is building a stable economy. And what you'll find, is that people like him, and there are others like him, both in the West Bank and outside of the West Bank. And I think this is why this board of community service, and there's some other word to it, that is in the ceasefire agreement. That is there. I think that's what that board is for, and I think that board is not, and it doesn't say specifically, but I don't think it's just for Gaza. I think that will be the transition. It will transition into the interim government, the technocratic interim government, to building a Palestinian nation. That's just my feeling, because it's like, why is this board here? And that there was talk of this before the ceasefire.
Can I ask you about coexistence?
Put me in the queue. I have a question as well. It's a serious question.
Okay. Yeah.
Like for real though. This is like I'm not trolling you guys. So 2-state solution on 67 borders means that there's 5, 6, 700,000 Jewish Israeli residents of Judea and Samaria, which would then do what? Where would they go?
I believe, and I don't know the makeup now, but I believe like around 400,000 of them are in those two major cities that stick out into the West Bank from Israel. So there would be a land swap for that, and that was discussed in Oslo. So that there's.
I mean, it was offered to Arafat. He turned it down.
Well,
with Clinton, under Clinton.
He did not specifically turn that down.
He did.
No, he did not.
Well, he turned down the whole thing. He turned down the whole
thing. So you can't say.
Right, which included 96% of the land that they asked for, plus swaps for the other 4%.
Listen, we don't have to get into that. You go read the agreement yourself.
But ultimately, he walked away from it. But I'm wondering, are Jews going to be allowed to live in this newly formed Palestinian state?
Okay. I'll answer both your questions. Okay, both your questions. The first question, I think 400,000 settlers will be, part of these, part of it would remain where they are, and there will be a land swap like what happened in Oslo. I believe around 200,000 of them would probably leave and go to Israel voluntarily. That's my guess. And I believe about 100,000 would choose not to. And those 100,000, if they choose not to, they either become Palestinian citizens or they leave. They have the choice. I don't think the settlement issue is a major issue because most of the settlers are in those two cities, those two main cities on the base of the settlement, the shape of the settlements. Like it kind of juts out and almost bisects the West Bank. So I think.
So to be clear, they're asking for, a new nation of Palestine, and they want to have the right of return back to Israel.
Well, the right of return.
And they want
Wait. Stop saying and as if we're
Why not?
asking for.
It
First
is.
of all,
It's
there's
asking
nothing
for
wrong.
too much.
There's no. if it's too much, then it'll be discussed, and things they would say it's too much. The right of return is literally a algebraic formula, so we don't even have to discuss that. That's not even going to be negotiated. They're going to run the numbers. Israel will run the numbers as long as the people that will be returning, the amount of people, it would not affect the Jewish demographic of Israel. Israel doesn't care about having them in there. That's plain and simple. That's all that matters. As long as it doesn't change the demographics, it will be a Jewish state. And Israel will allow them in, and that will come down to a algebraic formula that Israel will use to determine that, and they will give it to the Palestinians and say, here's the number, here's the formula, and done. That part is not going to.
Can I ask you, Edward? So it seems like a lot of concessions the Palestinians are getting. What concession are the Jews going to get? What concession are they going to give?
Well, what do they want? What does Israel want? How about that? Why don't you answer that?
Yeah, well, how about that?
Jesus, what does any country want?
We want to not be killed by your fucking terrorists.
You already said that already, and I already explained to you that if the U.S., if the various parties do it the right way, and not just dump money on like what they did in Oslo, they just dump money. U.S. just dumped billions of dollars on Arafat and said, go build a state, which doesn't work. I mean, who knows how to build a state?
No, because they're corrupt, your people.
Well, it doesn't matter if they're corrupt or not. I mean,
not only was Arafat, but then all the Hamas leaders and the Palestinian Authority, they're all corrupt, Edward. You would have had a state already.
No, that's not good. Go ahead, Norm.
Listen. Wait, Jeremy, if we're talking to a Palestinian person and we have negative opinions, this is not the way to sort of have the conversation. For example, this guy, Salam Fayyad?
Fayyad, yeah.
Look him up. There has been a corruption problem. Let me say, look, we have some corruption problems in Israel too. But let's not front load this thing with negative taunts and stuff, because it's a rare opportunity to have
the thing is, Normo, that the Palestinian people as a whole have disqualified themselves from their own self-sovereignty based on their behavior and history. Okay, there's no way that we can endorse a terrorist state to be created on our border, which will be Juden-free, okay, where they won't allow Jews.
There'll be Jews there.
In the street.
There'll be Jews there.
Edward. How many Jews are in Gaza?
Wait, do you know that there are settlements in the West Bank now that do not have borders around them?
Yeah, do you know how many people are attacked on a daily basis?
No, they're not attacked.
Attacks?
They're not attacked. The ones that are attacked are the settlers from the settlements that are radical, that are outrageous, and they're violent, and they attack Palestinians, and then they get attacked back. But why don't you go talk to those people that do not have fences or borders around their settlements, and see how they're living and coexisting with Palestinians, and how Palestinians leave them alone, and how Palestinians go into their towns and work there.
Why don't you ask Kia about those towns, or Shimmy? Why don't you ask them what it is?
Well, listen, 1/5 of the working population in Palestine, in the West Bank, was working daily in Israel. Daily.
Yeah.
So your leadership with Hamas has helped them immensely. Those people that were working in Israel, because now they can't come in.
Well, Israel will eventually let them in. I'm pretty sure they will. They'll go back. They'll go back to that, because let me tell you, on the ground,
they won't.
Palestinians and Israelis actually get along very well. Actually, too well for the Israeli government's liking, especially the Netanyahu government. They get along very well, because people, at the end of the day, there are governments, then there are the people. And the people just don't give a shit about what the governments do. And they're going to handle their business, and they're going to talk to each other, and they're not going to care. And that's what was happening before Oslo. This is why Oslo came about, and this is what's happening afterwards, and it's just the nature of people. No matter where you put them, no matter who they are around the world, people when they're that close.
Actions have consequence, Edward, and the actions of your people.
It's not for you to
especially the leaders of your people.
No, it's not. It's not
specifically, which represents the Palestinians.
If you want to go after Hamas, feel free to go after them.
Oh, great! You know what? They're all Hamas, dude. All of the Palestinians, they support Hamas.
I know.
They support
And
October 7th.
I
Okay.
understand.
No. Only the jihadist terrorists need to go.
Jeremy, I'm trying to do the opposite of what we're doing right now. I'm trying to find common ground.
Well, I'm trying to listen to find the common ground, Norm, but it's hard when all I hear is untruths.
Well, Norm, let me.
About how great the Jewish residents have it. How great the Jewish residents have it in Judea Samaria without fences. With the Palestinians.
I don't know. I'm going to go find out. I'm going there. I'm seriously going, and soon. I'm going to find out.
And Norm, go into the West
You
Bank.
better wear a bulletproof vest, Norm.
That's where I'm headed. That's my area of interest.
And ask
not
them.
kidding.
Yeah, ask them. Go into Ramallah. I mean,
For the sake of,
go ahead.
for the sake of, like, I do think of ground here.
I've been before. Not only have I been before, but as soon as I met somebody, they invited me to their house. A Palestinian guy invited me over to his house, and I went for lunch. And he served me lunch and tea. This is
Oh my God, Norm, and you're still alive.
Not only that, I was serving in the IDF at the time, and I went on the weekend, and I took off my uniform, and I went to and I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. I got into a taxi cab and said, "Take me to Ramallah," and then I was just there.
This can't be the first time you've had a private engagement with a man in an intimate dinner in somebody's house that you've never met, right?
It wasn't an intimate. It was a nice family with his kid and his wife. And he's very, like, if you meet let me tell you something. You meet an Arab, within 3 minutes he's going to invite you to his house, maybe less. Am I wrong about this?
This is the human condition. This is true everywhere.
No, it's not.
You don't think it's true everywhere?
It's only true for Oriental
No, it is
people. Like,
true, Norm.
the hospitality is really good. You can
Yeah, it is. It's kind of annoying, actually. It gets annoying. I mean, I go. It's like, and then Norm, you have, if you actually stuck around, like I have to stay there, and if I don't go, if I'm busy, I can't go. They get mad. They hold a grudge. Oh, he didn't go to dinner. He didn't come for lunch.
Don't say, if you see something nice, don't say if you see something nice in his house. Don't ever say it because he'll give it to you.
No, no.
Take it right. You can't say that.
They would, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Was this a Christian's house or was this a Muslim's house?
Do you know that if you go to a Palestinian's house and you ask for the wife of the host?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't think this. It's inflammatory. It's not.
No, hold on.
Give you the wives, his wife.
No,
Just ignore. I don't.
You're not serious. You're not serious.
Griffey, you need your medication. Go take your medication, Griffey.
Okay, so Edward, I think we have here common ground.
You're gonna have to trust
basically like a two-state solution.
אתה ישראלי? אתה ישראלי?
כן.
אתה כזה נחמד עם האויב הפלסטיני, נחמד.
אל תדאג, אתה תלמד גם אתה להיות נחמד, אל תדאג. יש כל מיני פלסטינים, לא כולם ככה.
אז אוקיי, הבנתי, אני מדבר עם שמאלני, סבבה.
אני לא שמאלני, אח שלי, אני לא שמאלני. תאמין לי, אני לא.
אנחנו נבדוק את זה.
אני לא שמאלני, אני הייתי במילואים כמוך, אם היית במילואים שנה.
אני שמאלני, איפה הבעיה להיות שמאלני? בוא, דבר איתי. בוא נשמע מי אתה.
שמאלני, אתה תחזור לאירופה, עמוס, אתה לא קשור למדינה הזאת. תחזור
איפה הבעיה? אני שמאלני, דבר איתי.
Amos should back to Europe, where he's belong. He doesn't belong to this land.
Okay.
He's occupying this land from the Palestinians. Go back to Europe, Amos.
What does it belong to you?
Okay, so Edward,
Don't
So most of the Palestinians, most people who identify as Palestinians, moved there in the after the Jews started to move there because the Jewish settlements created employment opportunities.
Randy,
I'm not quite done yet. I know you're triggered by the truth, but I'll finish. The Jewish settlements created.
Randy,
Please, Norm, let me finish my sentence. The Jewish settlements created employment opportunities, and Arabs moved there from Egypt and Syria. These are the quote-unquote Palestinians, people who moved because of employment. Look at the statistics. Look at the population. Most so-called Palestinians came because of employment opportunities created by Jewish immigrants. Thank you for letting me speak.
Brainwash,
Randy, are you drinking
indoctrination, bullshit, just
Okay,
on
all
the
right.
edges.
I see. So you can't engage in a logical way, so you insult and you curse. No problem. But I said facts. I spoke facts. You said you can curse all you want.
Right, guys.
You can curse all you want. But I spoke facts. Thank you.
Nobody was there. First and foremost,
Wait a second. Okay.
I didn't say nobody was there. Already you're confused because I did not say nobody was there.
Randy, I'm
She
gonna-
misunderstood.
Let's he respond, and then we'll go back to our conversation.
But to be clear, I did not say nobody was there. Thank you.
And I mean, do you really need to let a psychopathic
Jeremy,
terrorist
let's he
talk?
respond, and
you
then we'll go
stop
back to the
talking, you
conversation.
genocidal maniac, you hear me?
Well, that is not nice. Calling people names is not acceptable.
He's not calling in names.
You called him a genocidal maniac. That is not polite.
I mute everybody. Don't release me. Zero, don't release. When I say I take the microphone, I take the microphone. The last time somebody make a trick on me and broke the room, so I opened it the second time. I don't know, I see too many admin in it. Green, I didn't give anybody modi.
You modded me.
Edward,
Okay,
you
Edward,
actually give moderator in the room because I said not to be.
Yeah, no, but I thought you fell asleep. No,
Okay,
I
all
told you.
the people you give a moderator, I respect, and it's
I gave Norm and I gave Nir.
Listen, I speak now. Yes, this is right. When I speak,
Ask Edward a question, or Nair. Nair ask, or Amos
Amos
ask
and
Edward a question.
all the people in the room, it's not there, it's Amos, it's double Amos. I don't know why you come here, where is my picture, I don't understand, but... כן, אני אקפיל, כן. Yes, exactly, you're my
Okay, so for the sake of conclusion, I guess we do have common ground in agreeing a two-state solution, but in Israel's case, it only comes with the ironclad security guarantee that the new Palestinian state is not going to turn into a Trojan horse.
And that could only come, Kia, if there is not an agreement for a Palestinian state, but an agreement for a pathway to building a Palestinian state.
Okay, that's actually a very pragmatic way to look forward. But
Yeah, Edward, please, I took the microphone, then everybody on mute when I take in my room. The microphone, you respect me. Now you listen, everybody, those who are on the stage and those who are not on the stage. I'm talking to everybody. When you realize that there are two people, there is Israeli and there is the Palestinian, whether you like it or not, both sides as a fact. Even that there is a war, the Palestinians will not remove from here. The Israelis, after the 7th of October, of course will not remove from here. And I offer each side, if you support Palestinian or you support Israeli, to listen, to learn, to listen to the other side pain. If you will not learn to listen in the clubhouse, we are virtual people. You will not learn to listen to the other side pain, then it's a war. And I don't believe anyone in this room have passed a war and understand what the WAR means. So please, in the virtual life, in my room, respect the other side. Israeli respect Palestinian, and Palestinian respect Israelis in my room, please. Try to make it as more difficult. Somebody says Nazis to the Israelis, somebody from the other side say about Palestinians terrorists. It doesn't matter, it's okay, I understand it. A lot of anger. But please, please, try to listen to the other side and understand that we will not settle, not in Gaza, not in the West Bank. Most settlements we make, more angriness and terror will come against us. And
Yeah, but that goes both ways.
what do you think here?
So look, the bigger picture.
What? You sound to me
Yes,
very
the bigger
simple person.
Okay, so I'm gonna speak. So the bigger picture saying.
It's okay.
Yeah, so the bigger picture, I can agree with, like, the continuation of what the Palestinian people perceive as occupation is of course not going to bring peace. But I don't really think that there is a way to reverse this unless, as Edward said, there is going to be like a very concrete path forward of building an economic future, building institutions, reducing corruption. That's good. But even with that, like, there needs to be a change, a certain general change in the Palestinian narrative about maybe not about basically moving forward. Like, of course, people can have past grievances, but it's about recognizing the right of the other to exist on the same land, as long as they respect your existence. Many Israelis, well, maybe not many, but I mean, maybe not most, but do many Israelis see this as a good way to move forward? Because there was always a very strong left-wing political camp in Israel that believed in negotiations. And I mean, when I see the Palestinian side, I don't see many good examples of what you can say left-wing Palestinian politics. Even if you do, it's usually left-wing Palestinian politics in terms of like secular socialism or anything like that. But again, they don't really thinking in terms of the other side. It's not about, they don't think about recognizing the other side. So that is the premise of being left-wing. You start conversation once you see how the other side views you. And I wish most people like Edward, most Palestinians were like Edward, but that is not the impression I get yet. It doesn't mean it's not like a possibility in the future, but right now it doesn't seem to me like the impression I get from the Palestinian side.
Well, you're getting an impression that's slightly skewed because the Palestinians are very angry in the West Bank right now at the Palestinian Authority. They're very corrupt. They oppress their own people. There's no freedom of speech. There's no fighting for Palestinian rights. There's no attempting to negotiate with Israel. There's nothing from the Palestinian Authority.
Yes, and that is the problem because I know the reality, but that is the problem because their alternative is Hamas. Their only political alternative.
That's not that true.
The popular political alternative they have and think about is Hamas.
You're thinking of like a two-party system. We don't have a two-party system. We don't have a system.
I'm not talking about institutional things. I'm talking about the popularity of Hamas in the West Bank.
No,
we don't have a popularity in Israel of people like the Kahanis, Mayor Kahana, which you can say like the closest equivalent of Hamas on the Israeli side. The Kahanists, we do have in the government radical people like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, but again, they don't enjoy major support in Israel from most Israelis. If you ask most Israelis, the only people who support them are those who don't really have much power in Israeli politics, in Israeli society.
I just want to explain a little bit about how Palestinians think generally, and how Hamas fits into the picture of Palestinians' framework here. When it comes to Palestinians in the West Bank, they did elect Hamas back in 2006. Okay. They elected them. Why? Because of all the torture and corruption that was happening under the PA. That's why they elected them. Only
Yes, the PA is not the angel. We can agree the PA is not the best thing
right,
for
but
the Palestinians.
I'm trying to hold on.
But Hamas is like picking. It's like worse than the PA.
No, okay, let me. I'm just trying to explain that how Palestinians think. Now, when they elected Hamas, Palestinians are more secular than not. They're religious, but they're because Palestinians are used to having pilgrims and visitors coming in from all over the world for a long time to the area. So they're very open, generally very liberal in the traditional sense of liberal, not the liberal that we have here in the U.S. But when Palestinians are generally ideologically opposed to Hamas, that means they don't believe in the way that Hamas governs, the way they, the way they want to put religion into the government and have the religion driving the government, so to speak. Palestinians do not believe in that, and you could talk to many Palestinians, and they'll tell you the same thing. However, they will support Hamas in terms of the resistance. So you have two different
so
things.
that's the problem. The only resistance, so that's the problem, because if Hamas offers this particular branch of resistance, which we
no, they're not offering that now. That's the thing. Now, this is where there's a fork in the road now. Okay, they supported Hamas to help Palestinians get their,
You can't throw the terrorist out with the bathwater.
Okay.
No, I gotta explain this.
I don't see how you can say that Hamas. Like, what was the purpose of October 7th? Like,
I'm telling you. Okay, what it did for the Palestinians is it shifted world opinion to Palestinians, where we didn't have world opinion for us in the past. It allowed people to know exactly what's happening to the Palestinian people in general, to know that there's an occupation, because it seemed like the world forgot about the occupation, that there is one, and to stop the normalization of Saudi Arabia with Israel. That was the objectives, and Hamas has met those objectives. Now,
so what you say is correct. They made, I understand you. I mean, I get the point. I just want to speed things up a bit, because I get what you're saying. So Palestinians wanted to draw attention to the Palestinian issue, which was a success so far. But on the other hand, what they did is that they pushed the Israeli left, which is ready to make peace agreement with Palestinians, state solution on the 1967 borders. They pushed them on the fringes. So how are you going to expect, unless your plan is not to make compromise with Israel?
There was no chance of Israel making an agreement with the Palestinians. Israel must. This isn't just Israel. This happened. This is any country in the same predicament. A government doesn't like to move from its traditional trajectory. That's just all governments. Israel must be forced to accept a Palestinian nation. Now, should it be forced to accept a terrorist Palestinian nation, or a peaceful, productive Palestinian nation? This is the fork in the road. And this is a fork in the road for Hamas. Will they also accept a peaceful Palestinian nation, or are they wanting to, go full force and go after Israel? I truly believe that Hamas, so far, has indicated a willingness to give up power to the right people, to have elections, to have people in charge that are that will move the peace process forward, that will help build a future for Palestinians.
So what do they do? Just sit in the shadows and act as the Praetorian Guard, the protector of the virtue? I mean, you're delusional, Edward.
This guy's an idiot. I'm not delusional. This
Yeah,
is
you can
all
project
fact.
your idiocy onto me, but sir, you're the idiot.
This is all fact.
Okay,
Yeah.
Edward.
They kicked me.